It started gradually. I would walk into a room and say something, and no one would notice. I would say, "Hey, turn the TV down, please," and nothing would happen. And so I got louder. "I said, turn the TV down." Finally, I would have to walk over there and turn it down myself. And then I noticed it elsewhere. My husband and I were at a birthday party, and we had been there for 3 hours, and I was ready to go. And I looked over, and he was talking to a friend from work. And I walked over, right beside him, and he just kept right on talking. He didn't even turn in my direction. I started to figure out what was going on. He couldn't see me. I'm invisible. I must be invisible. And then I noticed it more and more. I walked my son to school, and his teacher said, "Hey, Jake, who is that with you?" Nobody. Nobody? Really? I mean, he's only 5 years old, and I'm already nobody? Well, one night, a group of us had dinner together, and we were celebrating the return of a friend from England. Janice had just gotten back from this fabulous trip, and she was going on and on about the hotel she stayed in. And as I sat there, I looked around at the ladies sitting at the table, and I just realized how pathetic I was. I had thrown my makeup on in the car on the drive over. I was wearing an old dress, because that's the only thing I could find that was clean, and my unwashed hair was up in a banana clip. Yeah, I was feeling pretty sorry for myself. And then Janice turned to me and said, "Here, I brought this for you." And it was a book on the great cathedrals of Europe. And I just didn't understand. But I opened it, and I read the inscription. And it said, "With admiration for the greatness you are building when no one sees." Now, these cathedrals, you will never ever find the name of the builders. I've looked again and again at these mammoth works, and I scanned down the page, only to find builder unknown, unknown, unknown. They completed great things, never knowing if anyone would notice. There's a story of one of the builders who carved this tiny bird on the inside of a beam that would be covered with a roof. And a traveler coming by asked him, "Why are you spending so much time carving this bird that no one is ever going to see?" And it's reported that the builder replied, "Because God sees." They knew and trusted that God saw everything. These builders gave their lives for this work, this mammoth work, never knowing if they would see it finished. Every day they showed up. They sacrificed personal time and family for no credit. Some of these cathedrals took over 100 years to build. And yet they showed up day after day to work on a job they wouldn't complete, on a building that their names would never be on. As I closed the book, I just felt like I could hear God saying to me, "I see you. You are not invisible to me. No sacrifice that you make is too small for me not to notice. I see every cupcake you bake, every sequin you sew on, and I smile over everyone. I see every tear that you cried when things didn't go the way you thought they should go. But don't give up. You are building a great cathedral, and it's not going to be finished in your lifetime. And sadly, you're never going to live in it, but if you build it well, I will. Some days this invisibility feels like an affliction, but it is not the disease to erase my life. It is the cure to self-centeredness. It is the antidote to my pride. It's okay if they never see. I don't want my son to come home from college with a friend and say, "Oh, you've got to meet my mom. She gets up at 4 a.m. and bakes buns and cinnamon buns and pies." And even if I do all of those things, I don't want him to say that. I want him to want to come home. I want him to tell his friend, "You're just going to have a great time there." They don't need to see. If we do our job well, they won't see. Let's pray that we build our lives as a monument to our great and mighty God.